All right, so here we go. Yes, it's time for your daily dose of all things Warhammer 40K Space Marine 2 news and updates. And yes, we've got a new patch that just went live, but what in the world is the deal? There's no patch notes. So the dev team did clarify what the patch was intended for, and we've got more news about an upcoming major patch. That's how they describe it. Plus, the community is already talking about nerfs, that this one class seems to be far too OP, but this is also stirring up fears of a potential Helldiver situation stirring up here, so we got to talk about that. Plus, if you're playing Bulwark, you're going to want to definitely pay attention because I've got some invaluable tips for you here, and more on that pairing system. And it has also taken a while for players to figure this one thing out that you have to know. And yes, I'm going over your top comments later in the video, but we got to see what the devs have been up to here, so check it out. It says a small hotfix has been pushed on PC. This is a minor patch to help alleviate server load on this platform. Another hotfix with some stability improvements is planned for this week on both PC and console. So they're going to be rolling out those server stability improvements as we go, so that is good news to hear. Curious to see how this launch day goes as well, but this also raised some concerns. Hey, you know, where's the patch notes? Can you guys actually start doing this? This is the second time you've dropped a patch with zero documentation for users, so it would be really nice if there were actual proper patch notes that went alongside the patch where you can just expand it and read it for yourself. I think that they should definitely make that change, but they did explain this, why there was no change log. It has minor SSL change to shrink the amount of calls to backend to minimize additional load on the backend during launch. Smiley face. But hey, it would have been nice for that to be included with patch notes. That simple line, something similar, that would be awesome. Now, someone also discovered that this patch might have also adjusted this right here. Day 1 patch fixed CPU heat issue. This was a big, concern for a lot of PC players. So it seems like this has cooled down those temps on PC, and there's several replies that are saying the same thing. But yeah, what about this major patch that is coming up here? So it has been confirmed right here, and that is going to be dropping in September. No firm release date on that, but we will be getting some sort of significant major patch. Now, this is going to go beyond just connectivity issues, of course. We'll see if it adjusts any balance issues that the game might have, but yeah, the worst fear is they get into nerfing the hell out of stuff. So yeah, I'll keep you guys in the know about that one, and more on that in just a moment. By the way, we'll talk about that. And this was also suggested to the dev team. It says, please, gameplay is great, skip the pregame map intro and make a better lobby system, please. And the response was, thanks for the feedback, I'll transfer that ASAP. So you guys are being heard, they are listening to this. But you know, how are you guys feeling about the lobby system currently? Do you think it needs to be improved, and what do you think would need to be improved for that one? Sound off in the comments down below. And you know what, I did go ahead and take a peek as to what is going on with the branches where they're doing updates privately. So this is interesting. They did do some testing on the prod Steam features and the pros account stuff. So you're probably wondering, what in the world is the pros account? So you've probably seen that in the lower right screen. It is not required, of course. And someone did ask us out here, what in the world is the pros account? By the way, what is the benefit to even having it at all? And it is this. Gonna try to explain it. The pros account thing is to get the Twitch drops to get added to your account. You also get some link up rewards as well. It's the same system they used for World War Z, that Orc Speed Freak game, and some others. The rewards are mostly cosmetic and game currency. They also offer like info news about the game, and when there's a new Twitch drop event. And the best thing, in my opinion, is how you save transfer to other systems. That's the big one right there, the biggest benefit of having your pros account linked for sure. But if there's any upcoming special events revolving, around like upcoming Twitch drops, that sort of thing, you're definitely going to want to have your pros account connected for sure. All right, so we got to talk about this thread right here, which ultimately leads us into the discussions about, yes, nerfs. Check it out. It says, is there any counterplay to Grapple Hook, or is it literally just a stun and free kill? Can it be parried or rolled at all? But yeah, some people are already saying this needs to be nerfed ASAP. Someone else expanded, gave an idea. Hard one to nerf. Too much and you make it useless. Maybe do something like make the kick parable. If you miss the parry, it functions exactly as it does now. If you hit it, counter stun so that you both recover at the same time and get a heads up fight. Yeah, so do you think there needs to be some sort of level of parrying and being able to get out of being, grappled to death. It's one of the things I have noticed that seems to be very, very OP for Vanguard. But then again, from the Vanguard's perspective, it is a hell of a time. It's a lot of fun to actually be able to pull that off and initiate it, and it would be frustrating to be parried. So yeah, I do get like both sides of the argument. I still think there needs to be some way to defend against this, but needs to be, some sort of level of major skill involved to be able to counter that move. Now, this also led us into, yes, this request right here. We don't want this becoming a Helldivers 2 situation. Please, Saber Interactive, for the love of the Emperor, do not go to the Helldivers 2 route and start nerfing popular weapons for balance. The Lost Fusel is an amazing weapon. For those unaware, Helldivers 2 had an extremely successful launch because the game fulfilled the power fantasy of what it feels to be a Cadian guardsman. Sure, you died a lot, especially since there's friendly fire, but the weapons were awesome and airstrikes were awesome, and killing bugs and bots had never felt so good. For some weird reason though, Arrowhead decided that popular weapons broke the game's meta and would routinely nerf them. What's the big deal, you ask them? Well, the big deal is that the players were using the popular weapons because the rest of the weapons sucked. But instead of buffing the bad weapons, they would nerf the good ones to be bad, and then they buff the enemies because, what in the hell? It's been a shit show all the way around. That makes absolutely no sense, and it's one of the major reasons why Helldivers 2 went from a beloved video game to having a 60-day we gotta fix this game roadmap. I've been loving the sniper class simply because of how effective the Lost Fusel is. It makes me feel like I'm actually making a difference in the battle instead of shooting a BB gun at a freight train. And I totally get the concerns here. However, someone did have quite the counter argument to this. Here it is. It says the major difference that you're completely overlooking is that the Lost Fusel is available to only one class, and for PvE content, you can't run duplicate classes. This isn't a case of X weapon is really strong, so everyone runs it, and snipers couldn't even be considered meta outside of the two highest difficulties, where burst damage is important to deal with sentries reliably. From a PvE perspective, the game is remarkably well balanced in terms of classes, with the exception of Assault, which is hot garbage. Ooh, Assault getting some attack there, so maybe they need to buff the Assault as well. So yeah, how are you guys feeling about the Lost Fusel? Sound off in the comments down below. But I've also got some major Bulwark advice. If you guys are maining the Bulwark, you got to check this out right here. It says, another tip for Bulwark. I found out last night that you can drop your banner, which gives you full contested health. If you set it up where an enemy is in execution state, drop your banner on him, execute, and voila, you have full HP without any stims, so you can let your teammates get all of the stims in a mission. Super late game, level 23. With a perk, this will also work for teammates too. That is a hell of a strategy. Seems like every team on those higher difficulties has to have one Bulwark on the team no matter what and initiate this sort of system. And then you could see how you can really start to up your survivability in those harder difficulties. So give it a try. Team synergy is extremely important in this one for sure. But some players are really struggling with the parry system. Check it out. It says parry alerts are discrepant in their timings, and that causes confusion, making them feel clunky. Now, there's some advice here, so stick with me. And I don't mean the difference between a perfect parry and not a perfect parry, but the fact if you get a blue marker on a minor enemy, it's an auto success. But if you get this blue marker on a major enemy, it's more like a warning. Sometimes hitting the parry button when you see the blue symbol just leaves you open to attack because the real strike is directly after the symbol appears. It presents the players with two different results with the same alert, and in the case of Tyranids, it's especially hard with all the noise on the screen to keep track of. This issue is compounded by the fact in many other games the timing is based on when you see the alert symbol or whatever it may be, so there's existing expectations. So yeah, it definitely can feel a little bit strange going from parrying smaller enemies to those bigger enemies. And then you also have to remember in the mix is this system right here. Just a reminder about the types of defense for my brothers struggling with the parry. If you're like me and jump straight for the biggest stat increase, but then wondered why you suddenly sucked at parrying, this is for you. I hope you all are enjoying the game, brothers. Yeah, we got fencing, increases the perfect parry window. Block, no perfect parry window. balanced, moderate, perfect parry window. So yeah, that really is super important, and they definitely do feel very different. Someone also noted this: so important to know this playing as Bullwork. I spent hours feeling underpowered just because I was using a block style weapon. So it can really mess up your play style and your class if you actually go through and choose the wrong upgrade path for your weapon. It can absolutely change the entire system for you. So yeah, it's really important to take some time out and try to learn that system. But then again, I think having the different parrying windows between the smaller enemies and the major enemies also is confusing people and compounding the problem. So I think they're going to have to fine-tune stuff in the future. Yeah. Then again, I know a lot of you are still concerned, hey, don't make the game too easy. That is also another big worry. I get that. Now, Space Marine 2 already has cheaters. It just got released. Hopefully the anti-cheat gets these dung noodles banned from the multiplayer. And it goes to show this guy that's going batshit crazy with the grenades. And yeah, you know, I haven't experienced that myself just yet, but it seems like they have, you know, a pretty decent anti-cheat system in the game so far from what I am seeing. But some people are concerned about this because PvP is so well loved, and it would really suck if it just, you know, was overwhelmed with cheaters, which I don't think that's going to happen. It's most likely like a bigger concern on PC, of course, but I'll keep you guys in the know if there's any updates about that. Now, also, we have this right here. I cannot remember a AAA game that had cosmetics that looked this good at launch, let alone ones that are free and earnable in-game. It honestly feels like a nostalgic blast to the past. I seriously have not felt this rewarded for grinding out a game since Reach. I couldn't agree more. I had to highlight this positive note right here. 1,200 upvotes. Here's to hoping in future updates we'll get more cosmetics that fit other legions. My Space Wolves need furs. Yes, I would love to see Space Wolves. Actually was watching that, you know, that interview with Henry Cavill, and they actually ended up talking about Space Wolves. There was an image that popped up for that, and I'm like, damn, yeah, we need like more fur options. That would be badass. That would definitely be my style, I think. But currently, I just love the look of my Space Marine already, and that's something that I'm just loving with the game. Is anytime I see new armor unlock, you know, on the screen, I get so excited to head back to the battle bars and check it out. All right, so yes, here's this. Took me way too long to figure out that, yes, you can destroy crates for supplies. So if you did not know this, let me rewind. It's quite simple. You can bash them open or just roll into it, and you can find some extremely important equipment there, including ammo, extra armor, that sort of thing. Do not neglect checking that out. And there's some people that feel like there is a feature entirely missing from the game, and it is the codex. Since I think the devs messed up here, imagine how many more people they could get interested in the tabletop and books just by having detailed descriptions of things talked about in the game. Oh, you don't know about the Death Watch? What about the Primarch, Chaplains, Primaris? All of these could be answered and given description in-game to help newcomers to the universe. Lore is the reason I got into the tabletop, and I'm sure I'm not alone. After some thinking, I think the game could benefit from a lore description akin to Final Fantasy 16. Couldn't agree more, because I am so invested into this now. And again, you know, I am extremely curious about this upcoming Amazon TV series as well. I'm crossing my fingers they don't screw that one up. That'd be horrible. Now, I always keep you guys in the know about how this game is being received, because I do believe that is super important for the game's health and its longevity. And yeah, today is just launch day, of course. But guess what? Good news. We're already now at very positive rating on Steam. And we went from mostly positive now to very positive. We've worked our way all the way up to that point in absolutely no time. And I told you guys I would let you know if it went over 80%. It did. It's sitting at 80% right now. So yeah, excellent news and bodes well for the game for sure. All right, so now it's time to go over your top comments. Remember, leave a comment down below. It can end up right here in a future video. Let's do this. So it says, I haven't been kicking people, but the amount of times I've had a level 3 to 4 character try to jump into a substantial match is insane. This seems to be happening to a lot of people, and it causes issues, especially on those, higher difficulties for sure. And we have, I want a librarian class so bad. I mean, I want all of them, but that one I really want. Hell yes, couldn't agree more. Now, people don't realize Operation Difficulty has a level check for your Marine but reading is hard, apparently. This is extremely important to know before heading into any of the operations to pay attention to that sort of thing. Then it says, an easy and needed change is giving invulnerability to those quick hot shot executions. So many times I performed them to get a bar of armor back only to lose 2 bars to a mob of Tenzingers before I regain control of my character. I could not agree more. There needs to be some level of protection and vulnerability status when you are doing those execution moves. It just feels like at some level, you're kind of like doing it for no reason. And it is pretty cool to feel like you're on the edge of dying like all the time at certain points. Like, damn, this is getting tough. But at the same time, you don't want to feel like a weakling. You know, you are a space marine. Now, we also have, I want my salamander to have volcanic ash skin and red eyes. 268 upvotes. That would be badass. Apothecary would be amazing to have in the game, and I think would be extremely helpful at those higher difficulties, especially if they do end up adding a higher difficulty. But I think that, you know, and I'm going to speculate completely here. If they do an apothecary, they'll probably line that up with the horde mode. That makes total sense to me. And maybe add a new difficulty alongside that. So that's my theory right now. But thank you guys so much for watching. You know what? There's actually this comment. I got to mention it. FOV sliders and shoulder swap needed. Yes. The shoulder swap thing, that would be great. I think there's some comments from the dev team about that. I'll try to dig that up again. But there's reasons why shoulder swap was not included. But, you know, even Gears of War had shoulder swap and it works great. So I still think they should go for it. But thank you all so much for watching. Stay tuned here for more news and updates about all things Space Marine 2. I have you guys covered, and I will see you all next time. Take care.